Yeah. I'm Kyle Schweitzer in the Office of Planning and Budgets, and I want to talk about the MSU Scholars website. So that's a site that it's a public-facing site. I just typed in the URL here, so it's scholars.msu.edu. And the purpose of this site, and it says it right there, it's really to showcase faculty expertise. So again, it's public-facing; anyone can see it. But as far as faculty go, there are really two components. There are really two sites that are really almost one and the same as far as what they show. But the public-facing site is this one. But again, the internal site, which is by MSU NetID, and I'll log in here in a second, is for faculty to go in and make edits to their profile. So I'll show an example of what this is. So when you first pull up this site, again, it's scholars.msu.edu. Anyone out there can search for a research topic. That would be searching for an expert at MSU on any topic you search for, or likewise, if you have a faculty member in mind already, you can search by that scholars or that faculty member's name. I'll do that right now as a starter. So I'm not a faculty member, so I don't have a profile on here. However, I was given access to Dr. Kontag's profile. I'll pull up him as the example here. If I just search by last name. So it's kind of liberal as far as it pulls up a name that might be somewhat similar in case you don't know how to spell the name. So, but I'll click on him, pull up his profile, and show you what it shows here. Some of you might have already seen this, and some of you might have seen your profiles, but I'm guessing some of you probably haven't. And what I'll show you how to do is how to make edits to this thing, and that's in the internal site. So this is what shows. Again, anybody can go in here and see this. So it shows the name of the person, obviously his title, and likewise what department he's in. This research summary, so what shows in MSU Scholars is if you are a ranked faculty member, whether you're tenure system or fixed term, either way, you should be in here. If you're new to MSU this school year, you might not be showing up just yet. Probably within a week you will be, but otherwise everyone should be in here. Again, if you are a ranked faculty member. If you're not, you can still go in here and search for some experts and so forth. But what this shows, again, is this research summary. And so when you go in there and look at your profile, if you're not happy with it, you want to make edits to it, you can do that. I'll show you how to. Likewise, research interests pop up that you can also edit if you want to. And finally, key terms. Those key terms come in from the database. Academic Analytics is the vendor here, and they generate these key terms based on a person's profile. And the profile is basically your articles, the abstracts of your articles and your grants and so forth. That's what generates these key terms. On the right side, similar scholars, those are a list of scholars at MSU who have similar key terms as what you do based on their research and again, their abstracts and so forth. You click on any name here and get to their profile if you wish. And finally, other unit affiliations up at the top again is the main department that he's assigned to or affiliated with. Other unit affiliations just are other either departments or PhD programs that he works with, that he's affiliated with. So this is the overview is the first tab that you pop up when you pull up a person's name. The timeline, if I click on the timeline, that shows his works. So it'll be articles, and there's some, of course, already in November now. So 2019 is certainly shown already, but it goes in reverse order with the newest first. If I scroll down here, you'll see grants on here. If I can find one here, here's a conference proceedings. So published conference proceedings are on here as well. There's a grant down here at the bottom. So the other thing that this will show is it's not just federal grants. It is indeed foundation grants, corporate grants. They all should show on here. These are generated from our contacts and grants database probably a few times a year. So it's not going to always show the most recent necessarily. But the vendor actually, again, Academic Analytics, the vendor will populate the federal grants. We then capture the rest of them from the OSP or the CGA database that's populated on here. Finally, MSU Collaborations is third tab. Again, it's still the public-facing site. So you can see all the people that he has collaborated with in terms of, again, whether it be journal articles or grants and so forth. And so that gets you a sense of who he's worked with. As I mentioned, this is the public site. There's an internal site. And if I click down here on the bottom, user login, that's the way to get to this thing. Anyone with an MSU NetID, whether if you're not a faculty member or not, it doesn't matter. As long as you're MSU NetID, you can log in here and search for people. So if I log in, so this is what pops up. Same thing, if I go back to him, search for Contag, I'll show you what this looks like then. Click on his name. And what I'll show you is how you, as a faculty member, if you're in here, you have a profile in here, how you can edit your profile if you wish. And the other thing that goes with that is you can pull up grant alerts that pop up for you based on your research. So it'll pop up when something, a funding opportunity comes up that's related to what you do, it'll pop up for an email, and I'll show you how to do that. But this is what you see initially when you first log into your site. Again, this is called faculty, top left up here, faculty insight. Again, the public site is called MSU Scholars. Like I said, the internal site behind MSU NetID is Faculty Insight, but it has a similar kind of view. First pop up the works. We already saw the works. We showed that. The research profile is what we already saw in the public-facing site with the summary and the research interests. Same thing, timeline, where we already saw this reverse order, related terms and people. And again, it's going to basically show all the terms that come up for him based on, again, his research. What's neat about this is that this shows people external to MSU. So all these folks down here, you can see where they're from. And likewise, they pop up because their word cloud is similar to his word cloud. So you can find people who are around the country who do research similar to you. And that's really, again, for collaborations possibly. Suggested funding is what I just talked about a second ago. So what this is all the grant opportunities, funding opportunities that are related to him based on his article abstracts, his already existing grant abstracts. So this generates this list. I'll come back to that in a second, just this last tab real quick, collaboration. So again, we already saw this in the public site. For him, I mean, look at that. It's as busy as it gets with all the collaborations he's had over the years with people. But that's, if I go back to funding, what I wanted to focus on is funding, because again, this gives you a sense of, if I scroll down here, this is huge. Now, and these are all opportunities that are still out. I mean, these are opportunities that are still out there. I mean, obviously they didn't pass. They're existing opportunities that have not yet expired, of course. As big as this is, you can filter a couple. First of all, you can search up here, type in a term, and within the opportunities that pop up already, search for any term, and you can hopefully significantly limit it to what you want to find specifically. And finally, over here in the far left, filter. If I click on that, you can see based on the sponsor, just click on whichever one you want. If you want to limit this huge list, click on what you want to find, sponsor types, federal, state, foundation types, so forth. Submission, limited or not, types of categories based on the broad research, field, academic fields, open or not, what type of grant, proper agreements, grants. So a lot of opportunities here. And I just lost what I was doing there. Give me a second, pull this up. So when you click on an opportunity, let me do that. You can pull up a lot more details about that particular opportunity. First of all, the amount, if it's not already listed, hopefully it's there. Sometimes the amount's not showing, but it usually is. So details about the amount are there. Summary gives you a lot of detail about the grant opportunity. And a lot of times, like I said, this can be quite large, a lot of detail. And finally, instructions on how to submit the thing. If you click on the title of the opportunity, that pulls up the website for the opportunity, usually pulls up whatever the foundation or whatever the agency is, it usually pulls up the opportunity website right there. So the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is, as I mentioned, well, a couple of things very quickly. If I go to the research profile, I mentioned a few minutes ago about changing this summary or research interest if you have a desire to do so. Up here in the top right, it says edit profile. If I'm on this research profile link up the far left, and I see this research summary and I'm not satisfied with it, again, this is your summary and you're not satisfied with it, click on edit profile, and right here is where you can make changes to the summary. You can check off the research interests if you don't want them on there, or add some that are not there that you want on there. Likewise, the keywords. Any of those you can check off, click off, or add new ones right there. And this populates the public site too. So it's not just the internal site here. It also populates the public site that I started with, MSU Scholars. So that's the way to do it right here. The other thing you can do here, as I said a few minutes ago also, is if you want to search, if you want to have alerts come to you for funding opportunities that match your research, right here where it says notifications, if I click on that, so this, you would slide this either on or off. Right now it's already slid onward to in green, so it's notifications are on for Dr. Kontag. You can choose whether you want to pop up an email for monthly, weekly, or daily. Right now he chose weekly. If I click on this, I can show you what it should pop up here, what the notification looks like. So this is what your email will look like when it comes to, again, weekly, daily, monthly. It'll show you, it'll look like this. So it'll give you a sense of which funding opportunity, usually has the top 3 based on your research, what the algorithm is saying. It's thinking it should be your top 3 opportunities based on your research profile. It shows you what they are, again, link to them right there. This will also show you recent publications that might be of interest to you, again, based on your research. Also, recent published from a collaborator, any collaborators that he's worked with that it has here. Again, top 3 coming up here, most recent. So a lot of things there that might be quite useful for you as a faculty member in this MSU Scholars database. I think a lot of people have heard of it, but I'm not sure if a lot of people have actually been in there and looked at it. So again, a way to update the profile right there with the internal site MSU login. In the bottom right of that MSU Scholars link is the login for this. So I can certainly entertain questions at the end of this as far as that, or by email as well.
So Kyle, for Contag, will it show all of his collaborators regardless of whether they have a Scholars profile?
I'm sorry, say the question again. Will it show all the collaborators?
Will it show all his collaborators regardless of whether they have a Scholars profile?
It'll show the collaborators as long as, that's a great question, as long as that faculty member, wherever he or she is located in the country, as long as that university, as long as that scholar is in the database from Academic Analytics as the vendor, basically as long as it's a research university. If it's a scholar who's not a university or maybe a small college, but if it's a research university, the vendor, Academic Analytics, has them all in there, so it'll show then. So the answer is basically yes, as long as it's a scholar at a university that's in the database. Yeah, and also you can have you can link to that scholar's page as well. If you click on the name, usually you'll be able to click on that name and get to that scholar's database as well.
Kyle, where is that database pulling the funding opportunities? Is somebody populating that, or how are those funding opportunities getting in there?
Yeah, so the opportunities, again, Academic Analytics is the vendor. They use Grants Forward. I think it's called Grants Forward is the database that they paid for to populate. I think that's what they said is. I think that's the name of it, Grants Forward, which I assume anybody can probably get to. I don't know, or if it's a subscription, I don't know. But I think that's the name of the database that they use.
So another question for Kyle, can academic specialists or postdocs create a scholar profile?
So right now, the academic specialists are not in there. Right now it's only for ranked faculty, which again, it could be tenure system or fixed term as long as it's a ranked faculty. The reason why right now we don't have specialists in there is simply because of cost. Right now we have 3,000 faculty already in there. And it's basically it's a cost as far Academic Analytics assesses a cost to the product based on the number of faculty, because that's more work for them to look up people. So it's based on the number of faculty you have there, or names you have in there that we give to them. So right now, 3,000 is really the most that we're in there. We're already at the max. I think we already decided if we get enough use out of it right now by the current faculty who are in there, and there's more of a demand for it, we'll probably maybe look at expanding it to specialists, but right now, that's where we are.
On the scholars, I just updated my research interests, like the type in, and then submitted it. How long does it take to update?
Good question. You just did that? You said you just
Didn't
updated the.
update.
Okay. I don't know the answer. I would guess at least, let's give it at least till tomorrow morning, maybe overnight. I've never been asked that question. I don't know. So let's check tomorrow morning. If it doesn't come up tomorrow morning, why don't you email me and I'll contact the vendor then? Okay. Yeah, thanks.